Thank you for tuning in to another episode of RIA Collective. I'm your host, as always, Charlie Van Derven, and we're going to take a little different angle on things today. If you're a repeat listener, you know that we do a lot of time interviewing people who have moved out of the broker dealer or the big firms into an independent space where we think that's where I don't know, the purest client relationships come from and help against all the trust issues that our industry faces. Today we're gonna take a little bit different angle. We've got a repeat guest on today. So my buddy Tyson Ray. Tyson, you're one of a couple repeat guests. Thanks for coming back, man.
Yeah, I feel like you called me and you said, "Hey, we really could do that better. Let's try and get you back on." And
That wasn't it at all. In fact, I was in prep for today's call. I think it was 2024 when we did this last time. So it's been a couple of years, man. So we're going to talk about secession today. And I think where this is a really important topic is if you are still at one of those large firms and your succession is incredibly limited, right? What you can do with your business is incredibly limited when you decide to retire or move on to another career or whatever that might be. In the independent space, as an RIA, of course, secession, you've got a lot more options there. We've got aggregates out there. And Tyson's done a lot of work around secession recently. He's got a program called S.P.A.C.E. We're going to let him dive into that and tell us what that acronym is all about. And when I asked Tyson, I was like, Tyson, what are you doing all this stuff on secession for? You building an aggregate? You're looking for advisors? He's no, this is just something I was guided to do. So it is a pure play. Tyson's a heck of a guy. Like I said, I've got to know him for a couple of years here. And so he's really just bringing something very genuine to the industry, giving people a look at what their options are when they're ready to move on from their financial practice. Tyson, thanks for being here, man. Thanks for being a repeat guest. Appreciate you spending some time today.
yeah, it's so my hardwiring, I'm a student teacher. So by my nature, like my unique ability, what gives me energy is when I'm learning something and then get the opportunity to try and simplify it down and teach it back to other people to let them hopefully learn faster than it took me to learn it. And your show is perfect and your purpose is perfect because I was trying to figure out and how this all kind of comes together. I was trying to figure out my own succession trapped inside of this wonderful, joyful prison that I was told was my independence. And it was a great firm, and I loved senior management. I was happy where I was, but what I started realizing is that I didn't know what I didn't know when it came to who actually owns the client and what's the actual tax consequence of selling a practice or partnerships or doing different things to put a succession plan in action, not just on paper. Those are two different things. And what I really I didn't know is that if in the for the financial advisor, the value of your practice is really the goodwill of the client, that's where the revenues are coming from, this relationship. And what I didn't know is that if my compensation is a W-2 or my compensation is a 1099, meaning the compensation is tied to my personal social security number, then that goodwill is not owned by my pass-through entity. It's not owned by my business that I've created and called it something. It's attached to me, the person. And if it's a W-2, you may not even actually own the goodwill. It may be owned by the company that's issuing you the W-2, especially if that's the broker dealer. Yep. Or financial firm that's not yours. You can have a 1099 situation. And I had one where I was in a hybrid is what they called it, or it was the independent channel or independent contractor channel, where again, I owned the goodwill, but it was attached to me, the person. And if I was going to sell any of it, I'd have to sell it to somebody else's person, their social security number, not through an LLC, not through a business S Corp, C Corp partnership. Like that actually, what I was surprised to find out after several years of working underneath this model system is my actual pass-through business, my foreign wealth advisor business in this broker-dealer model, in this independent channel, subcontractor channel, actually didn't own any of the clients, couldn't own any of the clients.
Yeah.
And so many people are like, I had friends that were buying and selling shares of their LLC that actually didn't own the goodwill. Yeah. You actually have to create an RIA that gets registered. And the goodwill is actually then owned by the entity that's registered, just like your social security number and your licensing are registered. That's why it's attached to you, the person, or it's attached to the broker dealer if you're a W-2 employee in that channel. And that just blew my mind. And then all the things we did to change our business structure and go RIA and look at the aggregators and the integrators and internal succession. And we just put together this book to try and be a how-to guide for somebody that's trying to process what are the options, what are the pros and cons without a bias. And
Yes.
I'm just reminding myself why I'm doing what I'm doing and how we got here, and why, if you're listening to this and you're trying to decide, either you want to affirm your decision on the RA side,
Yep.
that you have more options and more control in your own succession and the value of your firm, and don't think succession like retirement. Think succession like you die tomorrow, because that's succession.
Yeah.
Think succession, you're going to die at your desk. That's succession too.
Yeah.
That you can affirm that you made the right decision, or if you're still trying to explore what those things are because you haven't made that leap, if you will, this may be another reason why to do it.
Yeah. Very timely topic too, right? The industry is aging, the industry is retiring. I'll share with you, in the years of working with advisors that have made that transition, some of the horror stories that I've come across from that W-2 perspective, not necessarily from an independent broker-dealer to RIA. Seems like an easier transition. But coming out of the big broker-dealer, the big wirehouse, I knew people who have been in litigation for 3 years, tied up. And ultimately, and one of the stories I'm thinking about right now, ultimately the advisor won that case, but it didn't matter. Like, their book was gone in 3 years, man. How do you retain any of that? So certainly this is very timely as far as the aging advisor population, but also making that transition now so that you've got more choices later. So the acronym is SPACE.
Yes.
And you got a pure play in this. I love that about you. I've gotten to know that about you over the last few years, is that this is about conveying good information. It's not about you having skin in the game in any way. Tell me about that acronym. What does SPACE stand for?
Yeah, so it came to me in part because I was, like many of you listening to this, struggling with my schedule and time. And it's like, where's the space to actually go back to be able to think? Before we started recording this, you're talking about walking on the beach, and what you're doing, you're thinking, right?
Yeah.
And our best ideas don't come to us when we're in client meetings or stuck behind our desk, right? It comes when we are free to imagine and to vision cast. And so I was just like, man, I just need to take the space around, what am I doing with the succession, RA change? What am I like? And then it was not just space in the calendar, but then it's actually the space in your head, like to then focus, create the space to which now I'm going to work within this topic. I'm going to define this space in thought, time and thought, to then try and move this forward. And I wrote down, my problem is I'm not creating the space. And I looked at that for a second, and I'm like, okay, what does that really mean to me? And it's just like, when in the terms of succession, what came out of that was a thought process of the S in SPACE standing for, what do I see myself doing? Options are die at your desk, catastrophic, you're going to die tomorrow, or some health event triggers these things. Some life event, all of a sudden you have grandkids. I have a friend that just was never going to sell his practice until he held his grandson. He's like, done. And he made a quick decision, but he was done. So what do I see myself doing if I'm no longer the owner of a financial advisory firm? Either because I physically am not here, can't do it, or I've chosen to do it. What am I going to do? What do I want to do? What do I like to do? And in seeing that, I encourage you to take the loved one, the partner in your life who's made the sacrifices for you to be where you're at to where you got, but they were some miscommunicated or not defined or defined expectations of what do they see you doing? When do they see you done? Are you going to be done? Is there alignment there? Because part of a succession plan is making sure you're on the same page with the person that you love and got you to where you're at, and you don't communicate that right, and you burn too many years sitting at your desk. That's a conflict. Doesn't have to be. Let's see what we want to do together. In seeing this, it dawned on me, it's, wow, if you saw that's a picture, that is easier to see than to necessarily articulate. Like, picture's worth 1,000 words kind of thing. What do you see? And then start asking yourself, if that was to be a reality tomorrow, what do you need to start preparing? That's the P in SPACE. What are the things that have to be done to make that a reality? Are you buying a house? Are you moving somewhere? Do you need another person on the team? Do you need to stop doing something? Do you need a bunch of people to start doing something that they're not? What are those things that need to be preparing to make that a reality? And here's the mistake that you make when you get to the A. The A is now, what do we need to act on? And the mistake that prevents succession, and the mistakes that prevent us from moving forward, is we think we need to do it all. And the reality is that if you were meant to do some of these action items of taking these things that need to be prepared and now someone needs to act on them, and if you were the one that was meant to do it, you would have done it already.
Yeah, interesting.
You would have done it already.
Yeah.
And what we need to start doing is hiring and delegating. And there are professionals outside of your firm. There might be people you need to hire inside of your firm. And strategic coach Dan Sullivan has a book, Who, Not How. It's like, who is the who that I need to hire to take over the how, to act out these task activities, to knock out what needs to be repaired, to lay the foundation so I can live out what I saw. That's the easy part. The last two are the hard ones.
Okay.
The C in SPACE stands for what do I need to commit to make that vision a reality? And a lot of times it's committing to not doing things anymore.
Yeah.
Or it's committing to doing only the things that give you energy, give you joy, give you purpose, and accepting the fact it's committing to letting go of the steering wheel. It's committing to letting go of the ego that I'm the CEO or I'm the owner. And at the same time, if you want to die at your desk, it may be going back to what your partner wanted, what you want in your own life, committing to, I'm just going to be the CEO that makes these high-level decisions or only meets with these clients or only does these things. But I got to commit to saying no so I can say yes to what I saw.
Yeah.
In order to, and this is a crazy thing, the E was in the book, or is in the book, supposed to be so you can exit whatever the stuff that's sucking the life out of the job, the compliance, the headache, the payroll, the stuff. There's stuff that you're doing you hate, there's stuff that you're doing you love. You could exit those things, or you can exit altogether and be free of it all and go live your best life that you saw. If I could rewrite the book, I'd make the E so you can go enjoy.
We'll get a 2027 version.
But it's a thought process to help someone go through succession and realize it's like an overlying template. And then the rest of the book just goes into, okay, pros and cons of internal, pros and cons of family member, pros and cons of external, aggregator, integrator, your buddy next door. What are the pros? There's no perfect succession. It's just what's the best version for you. And the book is tried to be written in a format to have you ask yourself questions, because I believe your succession, if you're listening to this, and for me, I had the answer. I didn't have the questions to get the answer out of me.
Interesting. So Tyson, I already know one client that we work with who's a little bit larger firm, not larger firm, a few advisors there. The principal advisor turned 70 last month. And if he listens to this, he'll know I'm talking about him because he's really trying to break away to halftime. Now, this guy is 70 going on 55. For his 70th birthday, he did a heli skiing trip in British Columbia or Alberta. I'm not sure which one. But anyway, so he's really in good physical shape. But he's having so much difficulty with that transition to halftime. Now, when I go visit them, I stay at his house. So I've gotten to know his wife really well, and we've broken bread together many times. I can tell you she wanted that exit like yesterday or 2 years ago, and
Right.
he's hanging on. So he's doing it. He loves his firm. He loves the work he does. And in the last month or so, he's done this heli skiing trip. He's also had a peer retreat that I think hit him really Christian peer retreat. And so it's helping him with that transition. But there's no structure to what he's trying to accomplish right now. I'm the next buyer of your book. And so anyway, so before we wrap up, we're gonna get details on how we can get that book. And but before we go there,
So
yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. I was gonna say, I think for him, and there's a lot of folks like him, and in part of my ability to write this book, we brought in people and did podcasts for the better part of a year to help write the book and brought in experts. I've also acquired 7 practices or retired 7 advisors. And the gentleman you're speaking of reminds me of one of the folks that we ended up doing a partnership where it was like, it's your firm, it's yours, got nothing to do with it other than when you want to be done, I'm here. Because what he's forgetting in his desire of the both and is, if you're 70 years old or you're 60 years old and you've been doing this for a couple decades, your clients are 70, 60 and 70.
Right.
And you're going to retire in their retirement, or you're going to die at the stage of life where they're going to need you the most, or the surviving spouse is going to need you the most. And what you need to be thinking of is, who is the business owner, who is the partner that can let you have the freedom that you deserve and the respect in your ego and everything that goes into what your firm is, but have the catastrophic plan that if you dropped dead, your team, how the portfolios were managed, how the clients are going to be cared for, and that you can articulate that. Hey, if something happens to me, I got them. I figured it out. They're right here. They're sitting in the wings. They're my backup. They're going to help make sure these junior advisors, or my licensed assistant that as old as I am is going to basically be there to help take care of you and your family going forward.
You obviously know the scenario well, because that's exactly what he's going through right now. Like that, I think for him, that's probably the hardest part. This is 40 years. So not just 2 decades, but 4 decades he's been building this business. And
Yeah.
and you're right. I mean, it's an aging book of business. He's done the right things in the last 2 or 3 years in bringing in a younger staff, but his assistant is his age, and that's so they're going to go together at some point. But that's exactly the stuff that he struggles with. And you hit on it so poignantly. I'm sure it affects so many advisors across the country right now.
It's like a pastor, not you said it had a religious context. It's like you're the pastor of the flock. You're the pastor of the church. Church has staff.
Yeah.
And you're really trying to find out who's the next pastor.
Yeah.
And it may not be in the staff. The staff is still needed to run the whole church and the congregation and everything else. But who's the next? Who's that next vision caster, leader? Who's running the portfolio decisions? Who makes the decision when 70 of them are right and 60? 70 of them are right, 68 of them make sense. You got to pick one. There's a lot of people that can't just pick one and go and risk being wrong. And that's going to be an interesting and because these people are like family, it's really a burden.
Yeah.
And yet you're sacrificing time and quality of life that maybe most client, when you're going to know if your succession was successful, is that when your health goes to the point you can't do things anymore that you used to be able to do, you'll find out if you have regrets. And what you're going to regret is you spent too much time sitting at your desk serving other people and didn't have enough time to enjoy the life that those that you love the most, those that are going to be at your funeral, are going to have regrets, because it's like you spent too much time being successful at the wrong thing.
Yeah. I agree completely. We had a conversation before we got the record button, right? About the honor to spouse and kids, and making sure that when we go to bed at night, that all those relationships are in the right place. How much of that happens if you're spending 12 hours a day for 30 years at the office, and that's not what their vision is for the future. Tyson, very timely topic. You're the right guy to be delivering it, because, like I said up front, it's not like you got skin in the game. I don't know what the book costs. I'm sure there's a little bit of profit on the book for you, but that's not making a difference one way or the other. It's about providing necessary, timely information to people who need it. So, how do they find the book?
Yeah, everywhere your books are. You got it. Total Succession on Amazon. TotalSuccession.com is the website if you want to get some information on it. It's on your audiobooks. I also wrote the book for the ADHD advisor who doesn't like to read novels. It's really bullet pointed,
Cool.
but we put the QR codes in there. So here's the podcast that this was pulled from. So it's a livable guide, but it's not like you're gonna have to go suffer through 300 pages of stories. But there's a void. And I just didn't think too many advisors are learning about their succession options by the person sitting across the table trying to buy their practice, which may not be best for their practice, their clients, and they don't know what their other options are.
Yeah. Very good. Tyson Ray, my friend, I appreciate you bringing your wisdom, your experience to RIA Collective and to our audience. The book, again, is Total Succession, totalsuccession.com. I'm jumping on right after we wrap up here, Tyson, because my buddy that I talked about, he needs your book. He really, yeah, like you went through that SPACE acronym, and I was like,
Yep.
And yep. Dude, thank you for all the cool things that you bring to other advisors selflessly. I think that's awesome. I appreciate you being a repeat guest. And Tyson, I want to do it again. Maybe we don't wait 2 years this time.
Hey, let's connect again. Appreciate you having me on. And yeah, my impact is to try and make a difference in the lives of other people. And so, hey, if I can make a book and help an advisor make a better decision in the lives of their clients, and I don't have to hire them as an employee or deal with the headaches of all that, but I can make a difference. That's why we did it.
Yeah, that's awesome. And if any of our listeners want to reach out and get in touch with you, you're good with that?
Yeah, jump on LinkedIn. Best place to do it.
Tyson, RAY, Form Wealth Advisors. out of my home state of Wisconsin. We always got that
There you
special
go.
too as
Yeah,
well.
come on back. We just got 2 feet of snow.
I
It'll melt
saw
in the
that,
next month.
man. I lived in Sturgeon Bay for a little while
Oh yeah.
when I was younger. They got 33 inches of snow.
Yeah.
Wow. It's
That's
crazy.
like when it drifts to 6 feet when you're a kid, you could dig a
Yeah.
fort and like literally make a home.
I
Yeah.
remember in Sturgeon Bay, my mom dragging my brother and I, excuse me, in a sled to the store to get dinner one night or something. And it was that type of weather. Pretty amazing. What a cool area that is, too. Check out the book again, totalsuccession.com. Check out Tyson on LinkedIn, Tyson Ray, Form Wealth Advisors. Tyson, thanks, man. I appreciate you being here.
Great seeing you again, Charlie.
Yeah, you too. And for everybody listening to RIA Collective, number one, we super appreciate you taking the time. If you got suggestions for guests or anything like that, reach out to me. Easy guy to find on LinkedIn as well. And yeah, and subscribe and all that stuff the kids say. Tyson, have an awesome rest of your day. Thanks for being here.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Charlie.